Hey yo, you have. This is the generic paranormal show with your host KD, Fallout mega fan this week, and Austin Maynard, theoretical theorist. If you don't know what that means, go back and watch our past episodes, and that'll fill you in.
I
Tonight is
don't
a
even know what it
special
is.
night. Tonight is a special night on the generic paranormal show. It is a first for us. You know, there's a lot of paranormal video podcasts that will have guests on and stuff. And me and Austin, our things kind of been it was just been me and him talking about whatever comes up, several different topics. We'll stray off and talk about whatever else interests us between us, but tonight we're gonna add a new format. Then we're gonna be doing this occasionally, and we're gonna have our very first guest here on the generic paranormal show. Austin, would you like to give us a brief introduction of our guest?
Yeah. So our guest tonight
And
is
we'll
going to
let
be.
him explain. We'll let him do all the explanation. Just give us a brief
All
name.
right.
There you go.
Okay. Well, tonight we have Barry from Dimension Devices. He's stayed up with us, and he's over in the UK. So I guess we welcome Barry. Is that how we do it? I don't know how to.
That's how we do it, Barry. What's up,
Hello.
buddy?
Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me. I wasn't aware that I was the first guest. That's amazing.
You are the first guest. We had not had a guest. We were kind of like we said when we first started doing it. We might have a guest one day, but we really didn't want to be that same format, all the time. But
Mhm.
but we're still going to be different in that, we are going to talk about what you do and everything, but we jump around to lots of different topics, not just paranormal. Well, technically paranormal. A lot of it is. We talk about,
Usually deep rabbit holes.
yeah, ancient aliens. We'll see what your thoughts are on that type of stuff. Not that's just an example though. I'm not saying that's what we're talking about, but that's an
Awesome.
example of
Let's see where it
how we
goes.
yeah, we'll
Yeah,
see where it goes. And so, Barry, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
And thank
So
you for staying up with us tonight, too. Also,
yeah,
by
yeah,
the way.
man. It's all cool. It's all cool. It's
Mhm.
no problem. I'm a night owl anyway.
Sweet.
So yeah,
Us too.
I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the majority of people that do podcasts are night people, right? I think give or take.
And Ghost Hunt.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
ghost hunting and conspiracies and all of that. They all go hand in hand.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm Barry. I'm the founder of Dimension Devices. I don't know really how you describe me. A longboarding programmer probably is the best description.
So
Have
what's your background? Programming.
Programming wise, so I started I don't know whether you can guess how old I am.
I'm gonna say mid-30s.
Oh, I love you. Thank you very much. I'm ignoring my age then for a second. So I grew up with BBCs and basic computers, so you can try and work out my age from that. I'm
Age. You're not
It might
much
be his
older.
age.
I'm 44.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
I just turned 44.
I'm
I thought I was 45, and my son corrected me and told me, "No, Dad, you're 44."
no,
I'm like, oh,
I'm
that's
just a baby. I'm just 41. Poor Brandon over there with his white
You
beard.
see, I'm the grandpa in the room, man. Yeah, no, I know
See,
exactly.
I'm the baby, I guess. I'm only
Played Wagon
33.
Trail on
I'm not even
Foss,
33 yet. I'm only
I had a Commodore
32.
64, baby. You know what I mean?
You're the baby.
So right, basically, I am the founder of Dimension Devices. My programming background stems back from when I was a kid. I had a Commodore Amiga and
Me
an
too.
Acorn and a BBC. Awesome. So yeah, I used to program away on that. Then I got a bunch of really crap jobs and ended up landing myself a web development job, and started to work my way up the career ranks. And then for about 26 years, I think it was 25 years in total that I did that. And then I was just sick to death of it. I was sick to death of the politics of offices, and I was just done with it completely. So I made the decision to switch it up and do something different. It just so happened that I'd been messing with electronics, and I bumped into Travis Wisotsky, which I know Austin knows, who's an awesome guy. And
Austin knows
Great,
everybody. I know nobody.
great dude.
he is an
I'm a
absolutely great
hermit.
dude, man. He's like
Yeah.
he's
He's a really
real
great dude.
MVP.
And he does a lot of. I'm glad that I found out about you through him. I mean, he does a lot of promoting for you too. I see him out there,
Yeah.
man. It's awesome.
Yeah,
He's a great dude.
he's one of our affiliates, and he's the first person. So he's actually the reason why Dimension Devices exists. If just to give you a really brief backstory.
Okay.
Yeah, I was kind of fed up with my work and wanted to do something different. Had an electronics kit.
I feel that.
Yeah, man, it's a grind. It's a
I
grind.
work on arcade games.
Oh, arcade games ain't bad though.
And then you're talking about antiquated electronics, the kind of similar to Commodore 64 level hardware.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I love that sort of thing.
So anyway, carry
on. So yeah, I was playing a game called Project Zomboid at the time.
Yes, love that game.
Which is absolutely superb. If anyone knows it, And I decided to check out people who were streaming Project Zomboid. Travis was the first person I come across. He didn't have too many viewers, so I thought I'd pop in, nice relaxed stream, and that's how we met basically. I joined his Discord and started doing a to and from. Realized he did paranormal investigation, and it's something I've had an interest in forever. Like I grew up with the X-Files and Tales from all that stuff.
Me too.
Like,
yep.
Everything, man. I loved it all.
Beyond Belief.
Yeah. Ripley's Believe It or Not, man, was a big one when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of my favorites, man.
Good.
That was one of my favorites.
I remember watching Ghost Hunters when it first came on, when it was on Sci-Fi, and that was one of my favorite shows, dude. One of my favorite shows.
Yeah, man. Over here we had Most Haunted. That was massive over here, but there was a bit of controversy around that in terms of reality.
When did that come out? That's been around for a long time.
That was one of the older shows, man.
Like
it was good in the first few seasons. It started to, I think it started to drift off towards the later. Yeah, it was like it was late 90s, I think, right?
Well, the UK,
I want to say 96, give or
take.
take.
Yeah, that sounds about right. 95, 96, something like that. Yeah. Well, the UK has always been a little bit more paranormal friendly.
Oh, God, yes. Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, like it's taken a little bit more seriously, even in the colleges and stuff over there. The parapsychology.
Well, they also have the insane amount of architecture that's still around that unite. Like over here in the States, like we tear historic buildings down for cheaper, whatever, but over there, like how many?
They do it over
how many? You guys have like Stonehenges in the UK, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like that's just one. I mean, I know that's a famous one, but that's just there's so many ancient sites that are preserved.
I've got a really good example. A really good example of an ancient site.
Karnak stones. That's
the Karnak stones. Yeah, the Karnak stones are another one. Yeah, man. My example is a bit grander, I guess, in a physical sense. So I grew up in Wiltshire in the UK, which is a well-known hotspot for UFOs and ghosts and anything paranormal. It's where Stonehenge is. It's where the Druids hang out. It's all that stuff. So I actually grew up in a town called Trowbridge, which is the capital of Wiltshire, which makes no difference. Horrible little town. But I ended up moving in with my dad at the time, who was living in a place called Devizes, and I would just live there for a little while. And down the road, there was a place called Drew's Pond Lake. And Drew's Pond Lake is just like a man-made sort of nature reserve. You just sort of walk through it with your dogs and walk back out. It's nothing special. But on the edge of that is a building, I cannot remember the name off the top of my head, but it's an old insane asylum. And if you search Google for Devizes Insane Asylum, you'll find it. It's next to Drew's Pond Lake. And it's now residential. I looked into a little bit of the background of this. This place is fascinating. So Drew's Pond Lake actually is in like a little valley. It's a tiny little valley. Like you could throw a stone from one side, like the width of it, basically.
Okay.
And it had existed as a burial site since the 9th century. So that's like crazy old. The strange thing is, so that it used to be like a tribal burial ground. After that, the church took it over, and there was pagan and Catholic
Oh yeah.
there. And then when the
See,
mentor
and
side,
that's why I think,
sorry,
man, that's why I think like the UK, especially, you start getting over there, like all of those asylums, all of those ancient sites, the castles. I mean, even just recorded, documented history over there is just so deep, man. It goes back so much further than we in the States can even, we can't even go back that far.
it's a shame
Right.
because the States
Yeah.
has a
Well,
really rich history. Like the States
Oh
has a
yeah.
really rich history, but most of it's just been buried because of genocides and buried because of like taking over the land and all of that stuff. I mean, like
Oh
the
yeah,
ancient Indians,
absolutely.
most of their history is verbal, right? And a lot of it
yeah,
isn't written down.
most Native American history is passed down by word of mouth. But not only that, Austin, would you remember when we went down to Haygood Mill in
Yeah,
South
there's
Carolina? There's a
the
huge rock with like petroglyphs and stuff. So they did write.
petroglyphs. Yeah, petroglyphs. We do have like
Cool.
here in
Yeah,
Ohio, we have the Serpent Mound.
Oh yeah, yeah,
The
yeah,
Serpent
yeah.
Mound is a very, very famous. Like we have some of those things around the United States, but like especially when it comes to like structures, like buildings, and especially like haunted buildings that you would think like, how many ancient castles do you guys have around? Like how many
Yeah.
400-year-old build? Okay, just offhand,
oh,
how many
dude, like
400-year-old
Europe,
buildings
and
at
the
least
UK.
in the
Yeah,
UK can you
Europe.
count?
I mean, in the UK, I can't count, but I can tell you right
Yeah,
now where I'm living right now, 400-year-old buildings. They're two a penny. Like every other pub is a
Oh my God.
building from like the
right,
16,
right,
1500s,
right.
and there's
Yeah,
pubs
that's
in
the
every
same
How
way in
town.
many?
Germany. Germany's very similar. I
Germany's
was
very, very
I
similar.
spent
Yeah.
about 5 years in Germany. That's where I
And
met
it's
my
just
best friend.
crazy
Started going
because the
to America.
United States wasn't even a country 400 years ago.
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it?
No,
Absolutely
but you have
mental.
to think we have like settlers have been here since, not like right after the discovery of America. It took
Well,
about 100 years for settlers to start coming over and starting their colonies. But you had like the Roanoke colony, or Jamestown.
Ro-
Sorry,
Ro-
Jamestown. Yeah, that's some great. Like, and that's
oh
not
well,
that's just the west.
Roanoke and Jamestown, right?
Roanoke was
Yeah, right.
Roanoke was the
Right.
original, but
It
Jamestown was the
disappeared,
first,
right?
like the first capital of the 13 colonies, I think.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But well, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But so anyway, so there was tons of like in a lot of these colonies, met their demise pretty quickly. They either starved to death, froze to death, or you know, weren't accepted by
Well,
the locals. And anyways. So
actually,
what's up,
Roanoke
Richie?
was the colony that disappeared out of nowhere. That's
Right.
the
That's what I was. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
where
right.
But like I
the
feel like the
Eleanor
story is Plymouth Rock, right?
Marystone.
In Massachusetts is where the European settlers came over, like Plymouth Rock in
Well, that's what
Massachusetts.
they say. That's like the
I know the Vikings came here long ago, but we're not talking
pinpoint.
about that.
Yeah,
We're talking
no,
about
I'm saying
Western
yes. Plymouth
civilization.
Rock is where they
The
landed when they got
Pilgrims
off
touched down on the Mayflower,
when they
right?
got off of the Mayflower and yes, that's correct. But
Mhm.
there were also plenty of other Spanish and like
Oh
tons of
yeah.
other European countries
Hmm.
ships when they found out that the Americas were here. They also traveled over. That's just not documented well.
Well,
Like
they usually came up from the
French,
south,
the French
so
went to Canada. The French went to Canada, and the French were well into the Midwest way before the British colonizers had even thought about starting moving out that way. There's ancient like French structures in Missouri and all the way up into Canada. So yeah, but the East Coast of the United States is very cool. There's a lot of old stuff there, and a lot of it ties back to the UK, and there's tons of Revolutionary War stuff there, and that's all really cool. Which is I feel like history, ghost hunting and holding public paranormal events is a good way to trick people into learning history because nobody cares about, you know. Right. So,
Very,
anyways,
very true.
so a little bit more about you, Barry. So you are the founder of Dimension Devices. Now, what
I have.
kind of technology do you? What's your focus in paranormal tech?
Do you mean me personally or
Yes.
Dimension
Yes.
Devices as a thing?
Well, you founded Dimension Devices, right? And so, like, obviously, there's going to be a large part of which no, like you don't produce what you prefer personally in Dimension
So
Devices.
it's
So
an
tell us what
interesting.
Dimension Devices does. Tell us what y'all do.
Yeah,
So Dimension
explain
Devices.
Dimension Devices.
Explaining Dimension Devices is pretty simple. Again, we're present day, and maybe that'll explain a little bit, hopefully. So I met Travis. I talked to Travis for a little bit, and he told me he was doing paranormal investigations. And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. That's something I'm really into." And he was telling me about some of the tech because I'd not really followed ghost hunting or anything like that for many years. My main focus was on conspiracy theories, and that's a topic we can delve in for a long time, a long
We can do
period.
some of that later on. Yes. But go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I chatted to him for a little bit. He was telling me about all these different devices, and one of them that came up was the Ovilus. And I'd never heard of the Ovilus. So I went searching on a little internet rampage to go and find out more about it. And the first thing that struck me was the price of it. And this is kind of the beginning of the little cog in my head. The price of the Ovilus, when I was looking it up then, was $500 and something, $550. And I think some of them now are going for 600 plus for the 5B or whatever.
The older ones,
Yep.
go for like 12 to
Oh my God.
1,200 to $2,000 for the.
It's mental. And then I came across the Envoy, and the Envoy is another thing that's like.
Oh yeah, they call themselves like
$400
Ghost Box or something.
Yeah, and it's very sort of niche sort of stuff. And anyway, so I found out all about these things, and I was like, man, ghost hunters got to be rich. They've got to have pockets lined with gold, I swear. But it turns out you lot don't have pockets lined of gold, and I'm sorry to say that because neither do I. And I don't. And I think anybody with half a brain doesn't have pockets lined with gold. So
like TV shows.
Most people in the field don't.
If you're on a paranormal
Exactly,
show, you
yeah.
automatically are rich. I think online, somebody looked it up and showed it to me, and they said, you know, it said I was an actor, a reality show host, and it said that my net worth was $1 million.
It's
And I was
mental,
like,
isn't
it's
it?
definitely not $1 million.
It's like, where's all that money?
Where's my $1 million at? Anyway, go ahead.
So yeah, and then that was the penny dropped in my mind. Holy shit, I can do this like in a more compact way, in a way that would be cheaper for the end consumer, the ghost hunter, Joe Blogg's ghost hunter who lives at home, and as well as doing it in a modular and an upgradable with a multifunctional purpose. And that was the penny dropped. Then I was like, right, let's get out my electronics kit. And somewhere, and I can send it to you after the show or something, I've got a photo of the first version of Chattergeist, which is a breadboard with loads of wires, a Nokia screen, and a bunch of sensors all plugged in, wired up. Like,
dude, I have built so
Jimmy
many
rigged.
things that look just like that.
Oh yeah.
My own
That's how it
personal
starts.
helmet that I make looks just it's got a breadboard on top of it.
I mean, all the best electronics start with a breadboard.
Prototype. That's right.
So yeah, and so I ended up building the first version of Chattergeist, which was basically an Ovilus. It took the humidity, air pressure, and temperature, converted that via a very.
I don't even think the Ovilus does all that.
It's. I mean, I've never seen inside one, and I find it really hard to find a video where one is broken down, operating mode by operating mode. So,
EM fields only. I think that's what.
No, there's three. There's three different ones that they use. I have an Ovilus X that I actually opened up, and I know they use three different ones. I know it's like EMF, temperature, and maybe humidity. I'd have to look at the other one, but they use three different sensors.
Yeah, for the multiple different options that you have in the obelisk, not for the
Yeah, it doesn't
phonetic.
tell you what the
The
readings are.
phonetic.
It
If you
just
take your if you put your
influences.
phone or the an obelisk up next to a power box that's running, it'll start saying all kinds of crap. Or hold it next to your phone, it'll start saying stuff just all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's not, but it's not triggered by motion, and it's not triggered like humidity. I mean, like I mean, there might be an aspect of that that ties into the math and the code. I don't know. I've done similar things in the past, but anyways, go ahead. I'm pretty sure, but I'm pretty sure it's just EM based though. You see the little line, the little dots go up on it,
Yeah, yeah,
and it'll. Yeah. Anyways.
yeah. I mean, so I've decompiled a few, just on a similar subject. I've decompiled a few phone apps that claim to do EMF reading and barometer pressure and all this. And one of the biggest ones, which I'm not going to name because I don't want to make enemies, but one of the biggest ones that TV shows use, and that has like something stupid like 1 million and something downloads, has netted the guy well over $250,000. And I decompiled the code. It does none of that. All it does is it picks words randomly from a bank. And it blew my
talking
mind.
about the necro?
I'm not going to name them, dude. I'm sorry. I'm not going to name them.
Anyway, I know what you're talking about, though. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, it's just mental that that's even a thing. Going back to the chat, guys, which I got here for people who are looking.
What's up, Jonathan?
Many chat, guys.
What's up,
Going back to
So
chat,
little.
guys. I know, man. It's so cute. I
So
should have
little. I love it.
face on it.
I know.
But yeah, the actual thing is based on an ESP chip, and I don't think many people know that the ESPs have built-in sensors built into them, and the way in which they generate TRNG, the true random number generators, the way they function is via sensor readings. And if you can extract that data, then you've got yourself a multifunctional chip there and there, right for ghost hunting, really. And I can, as with all these things, like I consider myself healthily skeptical, and I've said it in every podcast that I've done. I continue to say I am healthily skeptical. So I can't guarantee this is contacting the dead or talking to people across time dimensions or anything like that.
Austin will be the first to tell you that I'm extremely skeptical when it comes to like
I think it's healthy.
Yeah, well, equipment, and it's like the not only equipment but results and
evidence.
Yeah, the evidence, because a lot of people want to
they want to
believe there's something.
Well, it's not even. No, they want to prove that they think that at some point they're going to prove to science that paranormal activity and different paranormal phenomenon is which the paranormal is just a blanket statement for lots of different things, right? But it covers a huge amount of different things, and the only paranormal aspect or paranormal field of study that actual legitimate academia focuses on is ESP.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. There was a time during the 70s, and I mean, that's a bit before my time even, but there was a time in the 70s where like Uri Geller and stuff was being taken seriously, like, the bending.
What do you think about Uri Geller?
Telekinesis. Oh, Uri Geller can suck my penis, I'll tell you that.
I don't like the guy that challenged him.
I can't remember the guy's name who challenged him. Was it Randy?
Yeah, I think that challenge is still, then that's open to any psychic.
Yeah, that's right.
If you can pass the test, his test, then he'll give you like $10 million or some shit like that.
That's right.
Yeah. So, anyways, you were saying ESP.
Yeah. So I think
this is one with a camera on it. This got a camera.
Oh yeah. I've seen one. Is that a LilyGo board?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a couple of LilyGo boards here. I mess around with just hobby stuff.
Camera, baby. I love these things.
I did debate.
I use a lot of different microcontrollers. I've been getting a Raspberry Pi. I just ordered like 20 Picos.
Oh, nice. I do need another Raspberry Pi, so I've got 3. and that is not
Oh,
enough.
okay. Yeah. Have you bought a 4 yet?
No, 5. You mean?
Well,
I've got a 4.
5. So
I
you've
bought a
got
4
a
a few
4.
years ago. Yeah.
5 is I guess I just haven't had use for a 5.
I've got a 4 and I use it solely for retro gaming. I've got a
Yeah,
little
that's
7-inch touchscreen retro gaming thing, and
You
it's
could even use
beautiful.
it for just a computer because I do a lot of the 3D printing and
Yeah,
like resin printing and
same as me. Yeah.
you like laser etching, laser engraving and stuff and all that
Dude,
stuff.
are we the same person?
Dude,
Is that what's going on here?
are we? Are you becoming one of my best friends?
Oh shit! Do you want to go
Did
do
we just
karate?
become best friends? Yup.
Yeah, dude. So and yeah, because a lot of our games, that we work on, that I work on at the shop, they use gaming computers. Like they've always used gaming computers. All arcade games have, but nowadays, like we have these really nice high definition, 4K monitors in their pay to skill. It's a game of skill and strategy, right? But you can win
Pay to
money
win.
from them, right? And there's
Yeah.
dragons flying all over the screen. So there's a graphics card, but they use like 2080 uh, 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 X graphics cards.
Dude, that's
Yeah,
better than what I've got.
yeah. I know, right? That's what I run too. I think.
I've got 1080 Ti, and it's still going strong.
Oh yeah, 1080, man, you'd be surprised. You play most games. Like you can't really squeeze all the the graphics juice out of like Cyberpunk 2077, but Fallout 4, that's what I play a lot, racing games online. Anyways, so there's a lot we can do with these microcontrollers, and I'm sure that's what you use a lot, right? Is like Raspberry Pis and
yeah, I've got Arduinos next to me. I've got Raspberry
Me
Pis
too,
next
yeah.
to me. I've got these wonderful little things. You ever seen one of these? A low
Oh
lane,
yeah.
Wi-Fi. So these things
Yeah.
are really cool. I mean, if you want,
That's almost like a Arduino Micro, like with Pro Mini,
basically,
what I have right here,
basically, yeah.
except it's got a Wi-Fi module attached to it. Yeah. I thought about buying some of
these,
those.
man, are really cool because you can do some awesome stuff. These are actually 8266s or what, 8622s. I can't remember which way around it is. But you can actually get a deauthor these, so you can load a deauthor program, deauthor firmware onto these, and you could attach a solar panel, put it in a weatherproof box, get it to target a specific. I don't recommend anyone does this. Get it to target a specific Wi-Fi, leave it somewhere, and then that Wi-Fi will be deauthed forevermore until this dies. It is a very sketchy little thing that you can get for £1.50, which is about $3, $2 in the US, I think.
Yeah, they're fun to play with, dude. Yeah, dude. I've got so many sensors and just different types of stuff. So like what? So Dimension devices. What type of devices?
The Chattergeist. The Chattergeist. Talk about the Chattergeist.
Excuse me. Yes, the Chattergeist. So the Chattergeist is our pilot product, our pilot device, if you want to call it that. It's a 1.28-inch touchscreen. Chattergeist.
Like ghost in German.
Poltergeist, but with chatter in front of it.
Poltergeist in German, like that's Deutsch for noisy ghost, right? So Geist is ghost.
Yeah,
like
so this is a chatty ghost
at the time. So that's chatty ghost. Okay, cool.
Exactly. So yeah, it's just a smartwatch form factor ITC device, paranormal ITC device. Basically, it measures micro EMF, which is within less than 1 centimeter of the actual device, and it only measures micro fluctuations. Does the same with the onboard sensor chip, and it's also using radio frequency noise as a baseline algorithm, if you want to call it that, to generate its outputs. And its outputs are words, letters, phonetics, generated imagery, but we're not talking AI generated imagery. AI generated imagery.
Yeah, I'm not fond of the use of AI and
no.
paranormal.
It has its okay. I could see in certain applications where it would be super useful as far as compiling data and then
Yeah.
comparing data and then like
Yep.
finding abnormalities in like an average uh, baseline or something, and over time, like that would be really cool to use stuff like that in a place that you have indefinitely for a long time that you can conduct extended research in. But anyway, yeah, AI. I love AI, but I'm against using it in ITC because I feel like uh, ITC or any kind of paranormal application outside of data, you know,
I agree. I do.
handling.
I do agree. It's one of the. It's a bit like mobile phones, kind of in a way, when it comes to
Yeah,
paranormal investigation, because with a mobile phone, and unless you're on airplane mode, which many people aren't when they go investigating, you cannot verify that it's not listening on your mic or doing some sort of
right.
text
Yeah,
generative thing.
if you're doing work like that or anything where you're looking for EMF spikes or anything, you definitely should have your phone in airplane mode. But if you're not doing that kind of
Yeah.
research, like if I'm doing ITC work, a lot of times a lot of times I won't even have my phone. If I do, I'm using it to video. That's it. But
Yeah.
anyways,
I mean, with the Chattergeist, we do actually have a lot of QR code support on it. So it may be that you do need to like turn on your phone for whatever reason. I mean, the main reason
Only if you need tech support, though. It's really like.
Well, here's the thing that I don't think we've documented very well. So the Chattergeist has 17,300 plus words on it at current count, and they're in a variety of languages. You can load the language dictionary on that you want.
I was saying 17.5. All right, I was a little off.
It's so close. I think
how about nearly 18,000?
I mean, hopefully by the next couple of updates, we're going to up that quite
Nearly
a bit.
18,000. That sounds better, man.
It really
this thing
does.
has nearly 18,000 words on it, bro. Okay, nearly 18,000.
Marketing.
Right, okay.
Nobody's gonna ask.
I mean,
nobody's gonna ask. Yeah, but how close to 18,000? Like 1750, 17.
True. Very, very true.
We're good. Anyways,
I can't remember what I was saying. What was I saying?
About the 17,300 words in the database.
Yeah, the vocabulary on it.
There was a reason.
You were talking about the modes of the Chattergeist.
Okay, so anyway, about that, okay, so since we're talking about the amount of words, so you got nearly 18,000 words in it, right? And so is it all words or is it like phonetic sounds also?
So the phonetic sounds are separate. Okay. There's a total of 3.
Do that kind of work also.
Yeah, so the phonetics are just 2 or 3 letter combinations put together, and I think there's 332 combinations of these words in a 5x5 grid. So there's more combinations of that than
now. Are you using the SpeakJet emulator code?
The what? Sorry.
SpeakJet emulator code, or like a talkie library?
Oh, I see. Like no.
Yeah.
So the Chattergeist is silent. It has no speaker.
No. A talkie but it produces. Oh, so it's not making sound. It produces
no sound. No, it's completely silent.
So you're just pulling and you're displaying it on a LCD, right?
Yeah. So it's on a little LCD, IPS LCD.
Is that it right there in your hand?
Yeah, man, that's it.
That freaking thing is tiny, dude.
Let me plug
it in. It's like the size of my wife got me a Samsung.
It is.
Watch.
So this is actually the same form factor. Might be slightly thicker, but it's the same form factor as a Google Pixel watch.
That's
so
dope.
most
so
Google
you can put it on a watch band.
Well, that's what this is. So this is a very early prototype of the battery pack. If I just quickly switch that on, you'll be able to see it.
Dude, I'd be cool with having a wire, a power cable I could just run down my sleeve into my pocket to a battery.
a lot of people power it from their phones directly, so you can plug it directly into your phone and power.
Or battery pack or something, 5
Well,
volt. Yep.
battery pack, dude. Yeah, I'd have a battery pack in my
that's cool.
pocket, dude, and I'd run it straight to it. And I'd
That's
have
how
it
I've done it.
I'd have it on a watch band. Yeah, dude, I need that. How much? Take my money.
So yeah,
Look
I mean,
at this, dude. Just watch. Let him show this, man. This shit is so cool. It is so cool.
I love how you did the interface, dude. I'm lost when it comes to making user
It's hard to
interface.
see. The glow is a little glaring. I don't know. Oh, there you go. Look right there. Yep.
It's kind of hard to make it out on this camera, and I don't think I've got. I'm using my phone as a webcam. So
hey, dude, I've got some ideas for stuff that
Ooh,
I need.
There you go. Hold on.
With interface stuff, man. Maybe you can help me out. Would you mind if I
possibly,
contact you in
dude.
the future?
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll talk about that.
Possibly.
Sweet,
I mean,
dude, sweet.
very much. So my skill set's kind of all over the place. Oh, here you go.
Sweet,
Serene,
yeah, me
keeping,
too.
demanded.
That is so dope, bro. Yeah.
So that's how it generates the words and stuff.
Yeah,
You just
yeah.
swipe up to go back.
Right.
So, what is the number on the bottom? I've always been curious about that.
So in dictionary mode, you mean?
Mm-hmm. Like what you were just on dictionary, yeah.
Yeah. So the number at the bottom is the main
The
reason.
number of the word.
Turn my camera back up. Yeah. So the main reason that's actually at the bottom is purely because rather than have another word pop out and just make it 6 words, it made sense to have a numerical way to communicate, be it a year, be it an age, be it 2 ages combined. So if you get death, strangle, woman, and then underneath it says 1964, that gives you some trajectory to go towards to have a look at.
Dude, yes. So
that's the idea.
I've been working on something also, and maybe like you could take a look at it, and if you even wanted to, we could collaborate together with it. But we'll talk about that some other point. But it's along the same lines. I've been working on something like that, but it's audio based. Now I could easily print the file or the word that it's saying as it's saying it, on a little LCD screen or whatever. But for I can barely program out onto the 16:2 LCD. Like I can do it, but it's like usually not pretty or something ain't lined up right. But anyway, you are really good at that, and so have you ever? So what you're working with? So that's your baby then, right?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't intended to be. So the original idea was to release the Chatgeist and then also release other devices.
Yeah. But that's your baby. I know how that is.
Well, it kind of got to the point where we thought, why bother doing other devices when we can make this a multifunctional device? And then we can release software updates as well. So you got,
and that's what I was saying earlier. Focus on what you're good at. Like you got something good. Like make that better. Just continue and you don't have to be like, that's the problem with fast food chains, right? They all want to make tacos and burgers and pizza and fried chicken and everything at McDonald's. But like you go to McDonald's, you get a cheeseburger, right? And when they focused on cheeseburgers back in the day, they were way better. That's kind of a funny analogy, but anyway, you focus on like one thing and like something that you like really kind of believe in and you put a lot into, and it's a actual like unique device, because that is a unique device. There are other devices that do similar things, sure, but
I think
not the same way yours does what it does.
Well, I think, and I've done extensive searches myself, and if anyone listening or either of you two want to give it a shot, please do. I think we are the first device worldwide that does regular software firmware updates and is modular. So on the side of the Chattergeist, if I unplug it from this device, it's going to be really hard to see.
Modular is the big one.
We see that was
Focus?
the lie with the Ovilus, right? Like, because the Ovilus, that's why I had Wi-Fi mode. One reason is so you could supposedly like updates and stuff.
In there, that is a
Yeah.
4-pin UART port.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that gives us access to create extensions that people can then plug into the device to increase the functionality beyond what it can natively do.
UART port, yes.
UART. So one of the things we're looking into is this little thing.
I've done some research on that. Yes, dude. Oh, bro, I got you. I am the expert on that. Holler at me.
So the TEA boards combined with the Chattergeist, we're hoping we can create something akin to a Frank's box that people can just plug in and use.
That's what I do. That's exactly what I use, and that's yeah.
And
you're coming in our territory now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey now, hold on a second. I don't need no ghost box competition. My digital radios now. Come on now.
So we're not planning to step on anyone's toes. I know, and I know you two are just joking, but I do really want to stress this.
I'm half joking.
So the idea is not to step on anyone's toes. The Frank's box we're going to make will not function like a standard Frank's box. It won't simply just scan randomly. It's going to have specific algorithms. It's also going to have swipe scratch support. So when you're listening to your Frank's box, you've got your earphones plugged in, you've got your little aerial on this little device. You can scratch it kind of like you would a record. So like a record, you go waka 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 wow.
Okay,
you'll be able to do the
unique take on it, and I can live with that because that's not really how I use.
That is interesting.
I can live with that.
Yeah.
We can
continue.
We can have peace.
KD, hey, KD. Stop. I want to keep talking about that. Keep talking, Barry. I want to hear that. I want to hear more about this. So, all right. So you got the little scratch function, right?
I want to know how much you're going to charge me for the the other thing, dude. What was it called?
Which thing? Sorry.
The last thing that you had, not the
Chattergeist.
Not the competition. Now I'm getting kind of worried because you're super smart.
The Chattergeist.
I'm a little.
This thing.
Yes, Chattergeist.
So the Chattergeist base. The Chattergeist base unit is.
I'll trade you something, man.
We can talk about that after the stream.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's 150 quid, which is about $200 and something, I believe.
It's like $269, I think, was what the price is.
I feel you on the price, and that's a decent price. And I felt the same way, and Austin will be the first one to tell you that's the same way I have always been, and that's kind of why I got into like producing equipment and selling it as much as I do, is because I didn't want, because that's why I started like dabbling in building equipment, right? Is because it was so expensive, I couldn't afford to buy shit. So I would design my own EMF detectors using a Arduino and whatever, and then I designed my own kind of field detection. They different devices that are able to detect different types of fields, like one could be static, the other could just be EM, like electrical, there's or temperature, whatever, motion, you name it, and people like what I did, but mostly my ghost boxes. So that's when I got in actually using that chip. And I've experimented with lots of different chips, and in reality, that chip is okay, but it is. I don't like the breakout on it because I don't like the amp.
Yeah,
it's got a built-in amp, and it just comes out like over line level, so you have to use filters afterwards, and it gets into a big deal, right? So I prefer using the actual chip. Go ahead.
100% with you. Yeah, 100%. I mean, this
chip. I got one right here. Got one right here. Let's see if you can see this.
This T chip I bought, the sound quality is atrocious. which is something we are looking into. It's got really bad reception, really bad quality generally. But we're also looking into speech synthesis. Going back to Chattergeist being silent, we're actually looking into speech synthesis solutions. So we've got one at the moment, which is you can Bluetooth to the device and then remote control it from your phone or the laptop or whatever you're using. So you could leave the device in one room. You can also nickname it. So you could nickname it bathroom. You could leave it in the bathroom of the house you're investigating, bugger off somewhere else in the house, and then Bluetooth to it. And our Bluetooth tool actually has speech synthesis on it. So it can actually talk out to you via your device that you're connected to the Chattergeist with. However, we're also looking at onboard solutions as well, using the same 4-pin UART. It is completely possible to have a speech synthesis board that runs directly on the device. So this is something we're looking into as well, with a tiny little speaker, and we've got
there's a library for that for speech synthesis.
Yeah. It gets a lot more complicated because of obviously these sorts of boards and chips have extremely limited memory. And when it comes to making the Chattergeist look as nice as it looks
and small, yes, you're right,
and smooth animations and packing all the features that we're packing in, we are using up memory. So every time we do a firmware release, we're optimizing that code, and the code gets optimized incredibly. I mean, at some points we've lost like 25% of the bulk of the code, and that's amazing because that means that things are running faster, things are performing better, they're using less memory, which frees up memory for other things. But the talkie libraries and the DF robot speech synthesis libraries and all those are actually quite large, and they do take up a lot of space. So it's something that we're looking into having a modular board. And that's something that's all I'm going to say on that at the moment, because it's something we've got working on in the background as sort of like
that is something that is what's made me so fascinated with the devices with the Chattergeist, man, is that it is the first one on the market that is actually planning on having the modules, like the actual external modules that you can attach. And I know you've teased several throughout the time that I've known you, at least. And some of them I know you've teased, like the what was it, the microwave, the 2.4 gigahertz radar detector.
Yeah. So that one is one of my favorites. Here's the chip we're using for that for tests. It's a beautiful.
Okay.
There's nothing much really to see.
Yeah.
This is a 24 gigahertz microwave human presence detecting chip. And the idea is,
I've got like 4 or 5 of them that are different from that, but they're the same.
Yeah, there's a few different types.
Yeah.
This one's an 8-meter one. So in the theory being, and we've done some tests on this, although we haven't done any full work on this yet, because we're working on other modules that are easier to produce. But the idea is that this will sit on the back of your Chattergeist, and you can hold the Chattergeist in front of you, and it'll show you a visual representation of what you're pointing at up to 8 meters ahead. But it'll also show you 3 walls, and the only thing it will detect is human presence or animals. So if you get hits on this device and there's nothing in front of you that you're aware of that is living, that is a genuine cause for reporting and investigating. And this, if we can pull this off, this would be one of the best things we could possibly do for the Chattergeist.
So I want to ask,
when you like that's a cool idea, but I just want one like a Reggie Chattergeist now.
Message me after the show. We'll sort something out.
So I'm curious, like when you talk about the human presence detection or animal detection, now what exactly? Because there's a lot of things that you can actually detect as a human presence, like what exactly is it detecting? Because I'm assuming with a microwave radar type deal that it would just be bouncing the almost like a sonar type signal.
You're gonna look with the microwave. See, it's different.
It's like a Doppler to Doppler radar effect, isn't it?
Directional, yes, yeah, that's exactly what it is. But it uses microwaves as opposed to infrared light or anything.
It only detects motion, from what I've been able to find.
No,
right?
That's not true. That's not true.
The ones that I've used are
to a degree, but like there's some more advanced ones that can actually tell like temperature and stuff as well. it's kind of like, you know, the difference between a cheap laser
Pointer
distance
and a high quality.
laser,
Yeah.
uh, that's just that, or one that's got that and you know, other things as well that can give you more data. But yeah,
So,
anyway, so but like
Barry,
lidar would be dope though. You know, that would be
Oh yeah,
awesome.
this is something else we're looking into as well.
Yeah,
I got a
lidar.
module. I built one for the
Well,
show.
Oh,
they're
nice.
super cheap now too, and
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
man. Yeah, they are.
yeah, but the good ones though, the really good ones, the like that you can map a whole space with, you know,
The
those ones
gun. You
are
gotta get the gun, man. That's a
we need to get the funds. We need to start a GoFundMe for like a high speed ass like alien what was it? Alien, what was that? Which alien movie was that? Was one of the newer ones. Shit, where they had the sensors on the drones and they mapped the
Oh yeah,
whole cave
Prometheus. Yeah,
system. Prometheus, yeah, that was it. That
yeah,
was
yeah,
it.
man.
Yeah, I think Romulus is coming out soon, or has it already
Yeah.
come out?
I'm tentatively excited for Romulus. I'm a big
Yeah,
Alien
I'm
fan.
a little worried, you know, because I wasn't like super impressed with the last one.
Covenant. Yeah.
Yeah, Covenant. Yeah, I wasn't super impressed with that. That was kind of like, eh.
Yeah. Check
But
this out.
anyways,
oh shit.
oh sweet dude,
Got my little alien, and
I,
I've got his
I'm a
now.
huge. I mean, oh yeah, the Yachi. Yep,
I'm really, really happy with that. So I painted that.
Yacha,
I haven't painted
Yacha.
anything in years,
Oh,
and that was
that's
the
so
first thing I
awesome.
painted.
You
You
hand painted
painted
that?
that?
Yeah, hand
Do you
painted
do
it.
the Warhammer
I
40K
I
figurines
used
and stuff?
to
Yeah,
back
yeah,
when I was a kid. I used to,
That's
but
sick.
I haven't
yeah.
painted
I
anything for
tried
a
to get
long
into
time.
that, but I just don't have my ADD doesn't allow me to finish them
Oh,
ever.
dude, it's such an expensive hobby. It's just a waste of, and unless you print your
Yeah,
own miniatures, it's
you
just a
could,
waste
yeah,
of time.
get you a good resin printer, man. That resin printer, dude.
You can't see it, but I've got a lovely one just up there.
Yeah, mine's at work. I have my resin because it's you know, the fumes, dude. That shit'll
Yeah,
you up, dude.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. I've got a couple of air purifiers. I got one inside and one around the outside of it, which seems to do the job. Can't really smell it, so I'm not
Yeah,
dead.
right. Well, good. Uh, good
So
But
on
yeah,
what are some of the other modules you got in the works outside of, I know you got the microwave, the 2.4 gigahertz microwave one.
So
I know
hold
you
on
got the
a second.
wristwatch, right?
yeah,
So hold
yeah.
on a second. After we finish talking about this, I want to move on because we don't have much time. I want to move on, and I want to do. I want to talk. I want to talk about what you think about the UFO, like whistleblowers and stuff that have been coming out in the past couple years. You know, like you had the guy come out and said he worked for what was it, Space Force or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And you know, he said that he saw all this stuff, and then you know, I guess UFO whistleblowers in general, like even going back to like Bob Lazar,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
totally. Yeah, yeah, I
you
get
know,
it.
like what do you think about
So,
this?
my opinion on UFOs, or UAPs, or USOs, or whatever you want to call them. Now.
We'll just call them UFOs.
Yeah, it's crazy now. So my thought is there are two types. There are those that are physical objects, and there are those that are not. The ones that are physical objects, and this is just my personal opinion. Everyone's free to disagree. The ones that are physical objects, I would state, are probably tech things done by military industrial complexes. The ones that are not, in my personal opinion, are possibly interdimensional things. I hesitate to call them entities. I don't know whether you've ever seen Carl Sagan explain the flat Earth.
Yeah,
So he cuts an apple in half, he places it on a pad, it leaves an indent. He's like, this is what a 2D creature would see if an apple passed through its dimension. And he would
right.
see various different types of blobs and shapes until it disappeared completely. And that's kind of what we see with UFOs. A lot of them do kind of disappear and reappear, especially the ones that seem to be made of light or those sorts of things. When it comes to actual whistleblowers, however, I am healthily skeptical because Tom DeLonge can suck my schlong. I've got a real problem. The problem is with making. Sorry, I mean, I've got a
that's
real
funny.
problem
That's
with
funny.
making, I've got a real problem with making.
I think I've said that same thing before. You know, like
At some point,
even
probably.
even way before he was doing UFOs.
90s punk music.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But yeah, I mean, I've got a problem with making people the front runners for this disclosure, to use in air quotes.
I get they were
disclosure.
trying to use him like for like a poster boy to like help, like, because he's got kind of a platform, you know, and people like, well, yeah,
He's
well, Tom
famous.
Long,
People will pay attention to him. That's the thing.
yeah, he's a
Yeah.
because of Blink, what was it, Blink 182? They were a huge band in the 90s, dude, huge.
I mean,
you
they're
know?
still pretty big though. That's the thing.
The
It's
name
crazy.
is so big.
The name is very.
When's
That's
the
the
last
thing.
time you heard
Their legacy reigns.
last time, yeah,
Kind of
when's
like
the last time you heard,
Nirvana or
last time you heard a good
you know,
fucking
like,
Blink 182 song?
the other day actually.
I'll wait. A new
I
one?
actually heard
one?
the song "Miss You" on
Is
Saturday.
it a new one?
Oh, a new one? I don't know. I don't.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter. It's not about that.
It
It's
is
not
about
about that. They left
It's
the
a-
legacy,
it-
man. It's forever.
Well, just to stop it there, it's not about legacy or anything like that. It's about getting a guy who has the charisma to pull off a PR stunt, in my opinion.
And plus the
I'm
credentials
not
of
talking
being
about
in a-
Tom DeLonge is his own
credentials of being in
separate
a punk rock
entity.
band.
He and Blink 182. I don't. Yeah, I separate those
literally
guys.
his biggest achievement in life, and his only.
I know, but when he gets into the UFOs, man, it's. I don't know. I don't want to.
Guitarist. I think he's a guitarist, right? Or is he a bass?
I think he was the vocal. Wasn't he like the drummer? Wasn't he?
Yeah, he was Tom DeLonge.
Drummer.
He was the drummer, I think, right? Or no, he might have been the vocalist.
Tom DeLonge sung and played lead guitar, didn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, I
I
knew he played guitar. I didn't know if he sung or not.
I thought he was a vocalist too. That's what I thought.
Many times I watched their videos, I knew this. I know a bunch of the songs.
I mean, to be honest, I hate that I know that. I'm not a big Blink-182 fan at all.
It's not like he's some kind of like, you know, that puts him in some kind of position to where
he's just a musician. What makes him educated on any of the other stuff? You know,
about UFOs, like that's
my main concern here.
Celebrities these days, they want to be representatives for shit that it's almost is usually ironic that they're being representing. You know, like it's almost like what's his name, Leonardo DiCaprio being the ambassador to fucking to the environment when he flies private jets like all over the world all the time, and he has a yacht that burns diesel like a fucking oil rig.
Well,
you know,
here's one thing that should cause everyone concern with Tom DeLonge, and that is he had private meetings with John Podesta. And now I'm not going to say anything about that, but if you know, then you know, and if you're aware, then you're aware.
But why would Tom Podesta have meetings with him, man?
It was something to do with the UFO disclosure, allegedly. Because
Podesta's. Why him? Why him though?
Oh well,
that's a big question, isn't it?
Singer, guitar player,
question.
That is a big question. That's what the big question is, though.
There's so much cooler rock stars out there than that dude, right? What did he have that nobody else had that made?
It's kind of like Circle Makers. It's kind of like that Circle Makers website. Like they started getting, the crop circle, the people that were, the crop circle thing. Like they started getting real big UFO researchers like to cross over to the Circle Makers kind of community, almost like defrauding it. But like the crazy thing is that the website was ran by the CIA, and they were actually like sending guys into the Circle Makers community they would like pay them $100,000 or something, but you're not allowed to. You have to publicly state that this is all fake Circle Makers, right? So like he would say that and then just disappear off the face of the earth, but it's like that's controlled. Like that's just controlled. And so Tom DeLonge having that private meeting, it really begs the question, like, well, I mean, it's obvious that why they would have him because he's a famous guy. If he comes out and does it, then
Tom DeLonge,
you know what I mean?
Whether he's okay, so Tom DeLonge, whether he's legitimate or whether he's fucking like nobody gives a shit or like if he's bullshitting or whatever, he's the poster child for it. He's the face of it of their little, like him and three or four other dudes that are, all working together. I can't remember all of them's names, but so that is what it is. But what about this other dude? What was his name? The guy who worked, was he in Space Force? Is that what the fuck he was in? He was in some government agency, right? And he said that he saw aliens and shit, and he testified in Congress
You talking
to
about that
Congress.
the guy recently?
Yeah, it was like this past
Yeah.
year. Yeah, it was when.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that guy. Yeah. I know what
yeah.
you're talking about.
So like you got
Did you
him.
see that, Barry?
No, I mean, it sounds familiar, but I can't place any
Hey,
names or anything.
I wonder if Brandon's still there. Brandon.
He's in the UK though. I don't know. Do you guys get like you guys probably don't get US news? I would have not nearly as much as we would get your news, I feel like.
No, I mean, I'm not really the sort of person who talks about news or watches news anyway, generally speaking. That includes,
Hey, dude.
even if someone
you
said,
hop
hey,
on
there's
the
like
stream
evidence
real
of
quick?
ghosts.
Right.
And it's on
Right.
CNN. I'm like, oh no, I'll go make a cup of coffee and do something else.
Well, yeah, you can't even trust anybody anymore. You can't trust any of the news outlets anymore. So it's
So Brandon,
like
pull
it's
up a
so
video. Pull up a video of the guy who testified in Congress. I think it was this past year or last year. 2023.
he was in the Air Force. He was in a
Was it Air
special branch
Force
of
or
the Air
Space
Force.
Force? It was
Well,
either Air
the
Force
Space
or
Force
Space
is a
Force.
special branch of the Air Force. It's kind of like the SEALs are a special, or like
Okay,
the
but
Navy
there's still
SEAls are a special branch of the
okay, but
Marines, right?
okay, but who cares?
Or
He was
vice
in
versa,
Space
or one or
Force.
the other. I don't know.
He was in Space Force,
I'll look it
though.
up.
So who cares? The Marines is a branch is a branch of the Navy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I knew one. It was one of the other. Yeah, I'm not well versed in military branches. I'm sorry.
The
I
Air
know you
Force
are.
actually
I know that
was
you were a
part of the
sergeant in
Army.
the Army. That's all I know.
was, yes, sir. I was.
Thank you for your service, but I'm not going to say it anymore because I've said it to you already like 16,000 times, and I don't know how many times I have to say it to you.
You don't have to
You know
say
what I mean?
it to me at all.
Okay, good.
If you
Good.
want, like when people meet me and they say it, that's you don't have to say it but once, dude. And I got it.
Okay, good.
I will say this right now. I'm glad I'm not American when it comes to that. And there's no slight against your country or your culture.
What's that?
But when you see a veteran, you're like, thank you for your service. And, oh, you're so wonderful.
No, I
so
mean,
great.
people don't have to tell me that. I always say, oh, you know what? Yeah,
no.
They just
I
want to
just mean
show
generally speaking.
Yeah, they just want to show their appreciation. I get it.
Well, it's ironic almost because we as Americans, is like we thank the people, the veterans for their sacrifice for the country. It's just unfortunate that the fight that they're fighting is not the fight that they believe that they're fighting.
I'm not saying that I agree with the wars that we partook in or any of that, but when I went in, it was still kind of a conspiracy theory to think that there were actually no weapons of mass destruction and stuff. They were still kind of rolling on because I went in 2007, dude, when the surge was starting and Bush was still president, and so
so you saw the bullshit firsthand.
Oh yeah. I went to Iraq. I was in Iraq and Afghanistan actually. Yeah, I spent 2 years deployed, and I was supposed to go again, and that's when they decided because they started to downsize numbers in the army. So like I had like several knee surgeries from the first deployment, and I had and a back injury, and while I was in, and so I had to have like procedures done on my back, and so. But anyway, but yeah, you get out and you learn more, and the older I get, the more critically I think of all government, pretty much. And I'm super like I have a very strong political opinions, but I don't really share them on my paranormal side because people don't watch us to see what I think about the Democrats or the Republicans or Donald Trump or Joe Biden, even though FJB. But
We don't talk about politics or religion.
Hey
no, we
guys,
don't talk about politics. FJB. So
for someone who's removed from the US by a giant pond of water, does anyone else remember how "fuck Joe Biden" become that other saying that I've forgotten now?
let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go,
Do you remember
Brandon.
Yes, yeah, it was a
Do you remember how
NASCAR race.
quickly that everyone was outraged
NASCAR
about Joe
race,
Biden,
dude.
and then all of a sudden
It
everyone
was
was
a
like,
NASCAR race.
it's so funny.
It was a
Yeah,
NASCAR
sorry, anyway.
race.
Let's just say
Hey,
nobody
that's
likes Joe
Brandon
Biden.
right there, right? The guy producing the shows, name's Brandon. And
Sorry,
like,
Brandon.
yeah, it's
We
it's
use
funny.
that against him.
Love you.
Brandon, yeah, so we
Love
went to
you.
this event. We went to this event, and oh damn, where was it, Brandon?
We were at Potosi.
Man. Potosi, Missouri, right? Yeah. So we went to this event in Potosi, Missouri, in a mountainous little lead mining town, old town, and to have an event. It was like a 2-day event, public paranormal event, and Brandon, where was I going with that story?
Let's go, Brandon. Now you pulled that on me.
Let's
in
go,
the
Brandon.
gas-
Right. So we stopped at a gas station, and you know, like, we went to the gas station. He was taking forever. I already had my stuff, and I was gonna pay for his. And I'm like, let's go, Brandon. And everybody in the store, there's a whole bunch of people in there. They all just died laughing. So everybody in that area pretty much, knew
It
what
was
was up.
hilarious. It was great.
Yeah. It was hilarious. Yeah, dude. Everybody died. It was perfect comedical timing.
Love it.
But yeah, so yeah, man.
Yeah.
We talked
No-
about MK
no politics.
Ultra last week, dude.
Oh yeah, cool.
We did.
Yeah, MK Ultra.
Hey,
Dude.
I've got an interesting thing about. It's not directly linked to MK Ultra, but it's something you might find interesting. I've not seen anyone else talk about it yet. I actually made a comment on Reddit about it a little while ago. So the idea is, a lot of people get confused between MK Ultra and Mancurian programming. MK Ultra being like, yeah, exactly. MK Ultra being like drugs and wiping the psyche and all of that sort of stuff, amongst other things.
It's considered
Mind control type of thing.
It's considered under the same umbrella.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So here's my thing, right?
Methods.
One would assume you know of Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
And have you ever seen Death Proof?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's one of my favorite.
Me too, man. Death Proof might be one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino films, if not my favorite. However, there's a line in this.
My favorite is From Dusk Till Dawn.
That's Robert Rodriguez, though.
Yeah, not From Dusk Till Dawn. Reservoir Dogs.
Oh yeah, Reservoir Dogs really good. I do like that.
The only thing I don't like about it, you have to be really high to enjoy it. It's all the dialogue.
See, I quite like that though, man.
I like it too. In that movie is one of the few that it fits. I'm a huge movie fanatic, man, especially like old.
Well, you'll
80s.
love this then, man. You're
Okay.
gonna love this, right? So, Death Proof has a line of a Robert Frost poem. It's the woods are lovely, dark and deep, and I've got promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. Do you hear me, butterfly? Miles to go before I sleep. That's the part of the Robert Frost poem, and it's said by Kurt Russell to this girl Butterfly to make her do a lap dance. Prior to this, her friends set her up and said, if someone says this poem, you got to give them a lap dance like it's a joke, right? But what that actually is Mancurian programming to be more sexual in nature, right? And this all sounds crazy until you realize that part of the Robert Frost poem is taken word for word from an old 1977 film called Telephone. And Telephone has that exact poem said to people over the phone to make them into assassins. So there's this weird link between that poem and this Mancurian / MK Ultra programming keyword phrase
Maybe
by a handler.
Yeah,
and I can't work out what the link is, but it's also in one other film as well, but I can't remember what it's called.
We'll take this. Well, okay. Well, so here's my view on that. What that could be is like that. What was the guy that wrote the poem? What was his name?
Robert Frost.
Robert Frost. Right. So Robert Frost, when he had most like famous poets are also kind of philosophers also, right? Whether they're studied in that type of thing or not, they're just kind of naturally philosophical type people, right? And some philosophers are ahead of their time, right? Like they're in a lot of philosophy, or actually philosophy is I'd say you can't have psychology without philosophy,
You
because
have to be ahead of your time to be a
kind of based,
philosopher, really. Mentally, at least.
psychology is kind of based in philosophy, like the study of So anyway,
The human mind. Yeah.
in a way, it's linked. But anyway, so like maybe Robert Frost had picked up on a concept of you know that form of sort of manipulation without the person even knowing they're being manipulated, um,
So
and
I've
that
sorry.
Subliminal messaging, basically.
that could have actually like sparked inspiration in somebody to definitely say, hey, maybe we should look into this, this concept that you know
It's
was
funny you mention sort of picking up on it, because I recently, like within the last year or so, I've become not so much a believer, but I'm looking into, and it's kind of impossible to prove, but I've been looking into the idea that ideas are not ideas. Like, let's say you're sat here, we all create electronics, we all sit
Dude,
here. And
oh my God, I love this thought. I already know. I want to keep going. Keep
So-
going. This
so
is my.
my-
shut up, Austin. I was into it. Go ahead,
so
Barry.
my idea is
Sorry. Go ahead. I just got excited. Go ahead.
ideas are not ideas. This is my general idea of that idea, and that's so it's kind of ties in with my theory on ghosts, and I believe ghosts are not necessarily spirits that have passed, but echoes of time, because all time is happening all the time, in my opinion. And if all time is happening all the time, that means the future's already happened, right? So there's someone who's just sat there. Maybe they're having a meditative moment, or maybe they're in the shower. So a lot of good ideas come to you in the shower, and that's because it's a chill environment where you feel safe. You've got warm water on you. You're enclosed in an area. You feel safe, and once you're safe, you start to get into that meditative state. And if you can get into that state, then I believe that ideas don't just come to you. I believe you pick ideas out of the ether in the same way that all time happens all the time. Let's say in a year's time, I have an idea for a time travel machine, right? A la Primer. And I can be stood in a shower and I'll be like, holy shit, I've got this idea of like, maybe I could do time travel that way. And then it leads all the way up to that point and you catch up to yourself. And it's absolutely impossible to sort of, it's kind of in the same realm as the Akashic record, kind of.
Well, so I see what you're saying. The only thing I would say is that like when you get into your zone, right? When you get in the zone, whether it's in a meditative state or and lots of different things can be like induce a meditative state in different people. For me, soldering, working like soldering wires and stuff, like systematically, like LEDs and stuff, that type of thing will get me into like this zone, this meditative zone. And I'll have like music playing in the background or whatever. And I I wouldn't say that ideas that that I'm like choosing an idea out of the ether, maybe without my conscious, me being conscious of it. I don't know, maybe subconsciously, perhaps.
So
like
this kind of ties in.
subconscious level of me is interacting with some stream intelligence. But I think that actually there is inspiration from something, right? Like that's when you're easily inspired by spiritual influences. And I don't mean like ghosts, I mean like you call it what you want, like something
Divine intervention.
some higher form of architecture or blueprints of
And I also
every.
believe you kind of have to be in a subliminally active state for that to happen. I don't believe you can consciously think I'm going to grasp that idea. I don't think it
No,
works
that
like
never
that.
works for
Because,
me. No,
I mean,
as an
if
artist,
you,
it's like,
I
all right,
believe
I
if
have
you
to
think
sit down
about,
and draw. I can't do it. I have to be in the mood.
it's funny, right? So going back to programming again, I've got like best part of quarter of a decade of programming behind me, and when you program something that's quite complicated, you can, I don't know how good you are at programming at all, but sometimes you can program yourself into a corner, and when
No
you
enough to get me
program
in
yourself
trouble.
into a corner and you can't get out of that corner, I tend to find that if I program something else and my mind's not really something that I know how to do with my eyes closed, just something stupid like a color picker or a random word generator that just spits out stupid combinations of words, something that requires no thought. I'll be typing away on my keyboard, like, blah, 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 and then all of a sudden I'll be like, oh shit, and I'll flip back to my other project and I'll be able to fix it immediately. And I'm not thinking about that thing. I wasn't thinking about that at all. But somewhere my mind got to a state where it was still inside my subconscious, and I fixed that idea so I could flick back to it and sort it. Doesn't always happen.
Yeah, it's like
there
it's
is
like
an interesting point that I do want to add to this.
mechanical part of your brain that's doing the things that you have to do, like driving, right? Like you're driving down the road and like you're doing other things, you're multitasking, but not even thinking about driving. So anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like you can blink and you'll end up in a different place. But shit, I've driven the last 6 miles. I've got no idea how I got here. But that is that state. Sorry, Austin, you were going to say something.
That could be alien abduction. Okay, so Barry, it's been great having you on and talking about all your like fascinating. I can't talk. It's been great having you on, and
Great to be here.
You like explaining so well in your cool accent to us about how
I doff my hat at you, sir.
It sounds very whatever, very British.
Well, dude, here's something that you won't realize, but here's something you won't realize. Because I come from Wiltshire, over here I've got a farmer's accent. This is a farmer's accent, like ooh ah, I'm on my tractor.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of like the what's the one? Oh my god, and
Cockney.
No, I think that's kind of cool, right? Like
Cockney isn't too bad. There are worse ones
like
out there. The Brummie
that's
accent.
That's like the Louisiana swamp people of British.
They're like the real, like what we would call rednecks, I guess, right?
Oh, like fucking swamp people, Louisiana, deep South Louisiana. You can't even understand what they're saying.
South Carolina too, man. There's deep.
It's so weird, man. So
bro.
For me, the Cockney accent is more akin to your sort of somewhere between New York and Boston gangster. That's what a Cockney is over here.
Oh, okay.
Rednecks is what I am, kind of a farmer guy.
Right.
If you can believe such a thing.
Not like a legit farmer. A farmer is not a redneck, dude.
Well,
redneck is like hillbilly backwoods.
Trailer park, South Carolina.
Okay, I'm not
that. Uneducated, not even farmer.
Culture,
that's a different
culture.
I don't know.
Yeah, farmer is like if you're like a rural community or somebody. I live in the country, so
there's a documentary called "The Wild and Wonderful World of the Whites of West Virginia." It's called The Whites of West Virginia. Look that up. Watch that. That's what rednecks are.
I don't think we've got anything comparable here in the UK to a redneck. I think the closest we've got is chavs. If you know what a chav is,
we call them white. We call it white trash over here.
Yes, it's a similar thing.
I watch a British podcast. It's called the Podcast of the Lotus Eaters, and they're pretty good. And it's like Sargon of Akkad, I think, is on there. He's a YouTuber or whatever.
I recognize the name.
Yeah. Callum. I can't think of his last name, but anyway. But they have a lot of cool people on there, and but yeah, that's y'all all sound very intelligent. So thank
We're
you
not,
for
dude.
saying-
We are. I speak for all British people. We're no more intelligent than
we
the
speak
US.
the Queen's English.
I do
You know,
want to
I'm like
say
on
my
the-
point that I keep getting interrupted by Kenneth on.
Yeah, I'm
Quick,
being
quick,
very
do it, do it.
talking, bro.
Quick, do it.
So
We're
one
talking.
thing that I wanted to say earlier when we were talking about your thoughts and ideas and selection of the thing, one thing that I found out
Well, hey,
within
hold on a second.
um,
Hold on a second. Austin, sorry to interrupt you again. I was trying to end the show, bro, because it's going on too long. I want to.
I know, but I want
Let him-
to make my
let him
point, and
finish.
then you can end the show, KD.
Let
I
him
know.
finish.
Jesus Christ.
I am. I'm gonna let you finish. I was just telling you. That's why I was. That's
I'm
why
going to
I was
let you
interrupting.
finish, but look,
Yes, go ahead.
KD's got the best outro of all time. Sorry, dude. Go
Is
on.
my turn now? Okay, we're
Go
good.
ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, so one thing I wanted to say was that within neuropsychology and it's neurology, really, neurobiologists, right? The ones that study the mind, whatever. One thing that we've learned is that before a decision or before a situation comes into play, or before you even know that you're going to have to make a decision, the neurons in your brain start firing milliseconds before you even know that a decision is about to be here. And it's not because of the time that your brain takes to process it. It's because before your brain even starts to process what you are doing, it's starting to fire up. So the question then becomes, is it something like you talk about like a simulation, you talk about coding, you talk about getting into this stuff, like how much of this is predetermined or how much of this is set? Because if we are ready, our brains are already recognizing a situation before it even happens.
I mean, is it
so
it's
I just wanted to
fascinating
make
me,
that
like,
I just wanted to put that out.
yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, it goes back to a quote from the Matrix is the illusion of is it the illusion of free will or something Morpheus says?
Choice.
Yeah,
all about
everything is choice.
That's all I wanted to say. That's all I need.
Well,
all right,
so,
we're good.
It's
so I see
fascinating
what
point.
you're saying, though, Austin. But I see what you're saying, and yeah, okay. So what now? And kind of what you guys are talking about when you're talking about like time and stuff like that. You're kind of talking about interdimensional beings, right? And when we say, and most people, they'll say dimension. They'll use the term dimension like it's another
Yeah.
plane of existence, right? Some other realm,
Realm, yeah.
maybe some other vibration of
Like a parallel universe would be a better word for it.
sort of a parallel universe would be kind of sort of a better alternate universe, but a dimension, dimensions beyond
It's not the same. It's
that we're
different.
aware of are all time related, right? So I think they theorize that there's 11 dimensions now. That's pretty solid and commonly believed amongst most physicists is there's 11 potential dimensions, and so like they're all time related, but not just time related, but time like
Space time.
fifth, no, not space time. Once you get up to the fifth dimension, you can go backwards in time once you become a fifth dimensional being. So fourth dimension is we experience time in a normal, like you and I and everybody else does.
Linear.
Linear. Well, yeah, just linear, and it's a certain length, right? It's not sped up, it's not skipped or anything like that, right? But like a fifth dimensional being would be able to travel back also to certain points, but they wouldn't be able to go back forward. They would only be able to travel backwards. And I think a sixth dimensional being can travel both forwards and backwards. And then a seventh dimensional being, I think, is able to like at every point in our life that we make a decision or a choice, there will be a branch. It'll branch off, and there's an alternate universe created in which we made a different decision, or we done something differently, right? And
Just
so
It's the infinite universe theory.
the seventh
Infinite
dimension
universe.
was able to go back to that point and make that different decision, right? And then the eighth dimensional, you're able to actually jump from part of this branch in this timeline, from that branch to another branch in where you made an alternate decision in a different timeline. And then I think the 11th dimension, and it goes on like to be more, just gives you more ability to move more freely about the web of time. But the 11th
Infinite
dimension
universes.
is considered infinite, and like that's supposedly God-like.
So
Well,
my
that's what the theory is infinite universe theory.
Yeah.
So my personal belief, if I was to go down that route, is not that 11 dimensions exist aside from each other, but rather that they all exist all at the same time on top of each other. So I don't believe that you make a choice and it splits. I believe all those splits and all those choices have already happened and they're already stacked flat on top of each other. And
so that's predestination, though, right? So you believe that everything's already predetermined.
Not necessarily predestination. It's just that they all exist at the same time.
All the different
All exist
possibilities
simultaneously.
exist.
I think
Well,
the
it is
idea
kind
of
of predestination, though. It is kind of predestination.
well,
because that branch hasn't been created until we make a
Unless
choice.
unless our neurons firing in our brain, maybe at that instant, because it's right before, maybe in those milliseconds right before the situation comes up is when those other universes are created. Like every time
Maybe, yeah.
that
Also,
situation
but that
comes up,
branch
right
doesn't
before that
begin
situation
at the
comes
end.
up, you get the same choice, but you make the opposite decision in an infinite. And every
Right.
time you do that, another
It would be
universe
a
is created.
potential.
Another.
Actually,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be a potential. It would be another universe created.
It would
Instantly.
be literally
But
an equal.
you have to be faced with a specific choice until that alternate universe, those different branches are created. Because until you're represented with that choice, until that
But your
choice happens,
neurons fire up before
Well-
you even are represented with that choice.
Well, here's a thing to throw everything out in the works for the last part of the show. There is no choice and everything is choice. Right now, as I'm making this movement with my hand, every step of that movement, not every step, but every micron movement of every atom is a choice.
That's true.
And when I do this, that's a choice. So have I just created infinite universes just by doing this? It seems implausible to me. It seems more plausible that everything's already happened and rendered, and our consciousness is tuned into a specific layer of that film that's all been flattened and rendered. And as we get ideas, we're picking from different layers of different film, and it's kind of really hard to explain. Do you see what I'm
No, I understand. No, I understand exactly what you're saying. And
100%.
I understand that, but also I think that's it's extremely plausible that every time you're faced with a choice, that all the different possibilities expand and become potentially real.
Maybe
But
it's
they're not
external.
real until they're observed, right? Because things like, it might behave like, this is all theoretical.
That's a good point.
Obviously.
It's a good point.
So it's
getting
not
into
even
quantum
a thing
mechanics
until
and
it's
stuff,
observed. Right? Yeah. So
I mean,
like,
there is actually a precedent there, isn't there, with the
I love quantum. Oh, let's get into that, man. We can.
all
If
right,
KB wants
you
to
know
end
what? We
the
ain't got no more
show,
time. No,
we got to
don't
end the
have no more
show,
time.
right?
We want to talk some more after this. It is late for Barry. And
next time,
Next
guys.
time.
Next time.
Hey Barry, so you want to be on again? Good.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I'm quite happy. It's been a great chat.
This is
Nice to
like
have a
one of
chat.
the best shows we've had. I think one of the best where we stayed
Love it.
kind of on track.
Barry,
I know.
plug Dimension Devices.
Yeah, there you go. Give
Do
us
your
your plug.
plugs.
So, Dimension Devices, the world's first portable smartwatch form factor, modular, updatable ITC paranormal device. Get it dimensiondevices.co.uk, £150, which is about $260, I believe Austin said. If you go
269.
through, it's 69. But if you go through an affiliate link, you get 10% off. So find the affiliates, get yourself 10% off. And we've got exciting things coming up later on in the year. So yeah, more modules, more extensions, more bits of stuff to stick onto it. So yeah, check us out.
No problems.
Yeah,
Oh,
for sure.
mate, I bloody wish.
We're all so loaded right here. I mean, you know.
See, I don't know if that's the case anymore, man. Nowadays, more money, less problems is what it seems like. But
Yeah, I mean,
that's it. We'll talk
anyway,
more.
Only if you got that Diddy
so
money.
Everybody out there who watched, yeah, you got that KD money. Yeah, I know, right? That 1 point whatever mil, baby. Anyway, so everybody who out there watched, thank you for watching. We love all y'all. Linda, Tim, Greg, Pamela, Jeff, Dreama, Tim,
Everybody else.
everybody. Love y'all and thank y'all for watching. And tune in hopefully next week again. And we might have another guest, we might not. So thanks for watching and peace out.
Peace.